Sometimes, you give everything. Your time, your presence, your attention. You show up, you check in, you make space when no one made it for you. And still they stop seeing you, they stop thanking, they stop asking, they stop valuing, and the instinct to do more, prove more, speak louder. But the Stoics, they chose a different path. They didn't argue, they didn't perform. They simply stepped back. No anger, no announcement, just distance so heavy it made the room feel hollow. And in that silence, they were finally noticed. Because what's truly valuable doesn't scream to be seen, it leaves quietly, and lets its absence speak the truth. Let's begin. Don't announce your withdrawal. Just withdraw. The Stoics didn't send signals. They moved in silence. Because anything that has to be explained loses weight. You don't need to say I'm done. You don't need to write, you hurt me. You don't need to explain why you're leaving. Just leave. One fewer message. One fewer appearance, one fewer reaction. Not to punish, not to manipulate, but to reclaim the energy you gave too freely. Distance has power when it arrives unannounced, because when they look up and you're gone, that's when they feel what they stopped appreciating. No closure, no noise, just absence that hits deeper than any final word ever could. If you have to explain your value, you're already undervalued. The Stoics never begged to be understood. They just stood, still, unmoved, and let the world adjust or not. You don't need to remind them how much you did. You don't need to list what they took for granted. Because every time you explain, you lower the price. The rare doesn't chase attention. It doesn't break itself into pieces to be more palatable. It just is, whole, untouched, complete. And if they can't see it, let them miss it. Your worth isn't proven in conversation, it's proven in your absence. So stop convincing, start conserving. They'll realize, but only after you stop trying to make them. Words can clarify, but silence reveals. The Stoics knew you don't need to shout to be heard. You need to pause, withdraw, and let the air do the talking. When someone stops valuing you, they stop listening, so stop speaking. Don't explain what they ignored. Don't repeat what they dismissed. Just go quiet. Let the messages stop. Let the calls go cold. Let the room feel your absence instead of your effort. Because silence makes people uncomfortable. It forces reflection. It makes space heavy. And if they cared at all, they'll notice. Not in the moment, but later, when the echo returns and they realize you were the only one who ever stood still and stayed true. Silence cuts deeper than words ever could. Use it well. Time isn't just passing, it's leaking. Every second you give costs energy, focus, presence, life. The Stoics treated time like breath underwater, precious, measured, non-negotiable. So when someone stops valuing you, don't give them more of what they waste. Don't double the texts. Don't offer second chances. Don't stretch your days to fit someone who keeps shrinking you. Your time is your boundary. And every time you say yes out of guilt, you bleed. So stop handing out hours like they're free. Protect your calendar like it's your spine. Because when you treat your time like it costs blood, people either rise to your standard or disappear from your schedule, and both are forms of healing. If they misread you, let them. If they pull away, stay still. The Stoics didn't chase validation, they didn't explain their silence, they didn't correct every lie or clear every misunderstanding. Because some minds are already made up, and truth doesn't beg to be heard. You want peace? Let them misjudge. Let them walk. Let them believe what they need to believe to sleep at night. You are not their editor. You are not their mirror. You are not responsible for how they interpret your presence. The moment you chase, you drop your value. And the moment you try to fix their view of you, you shrink to fit it. So stop. Let your silence speak. Let your distance correct the narrative. And let time reveal what the moment couldn't. The right ones won't need chasing, and the rest weren't meant to stay anyway. You don't have to win. You just have to hold position. When someone stops valuing you, don't lower your tone. Don't match their silence with sarcasm. Don't turn cold just to prove a point. The Stoics were masters of losing well. They didn't beg, they didn't break, they didn't twist their principles to stay seen. Because dignity isn't about being right, it's about being unmoved by what tries to shrink you. So when the door closes, nod. When the call doesn't come, breathe. When the energy fades, let it. You're not here to convince. You're here to contain. And nothing is more powerful than the man who's been let down, but never let go of himself. Let them walk. Let them forget. Let them misunderstand. Just don't forget how still you stood when it would have been easier to collapse. They'll remember. Availability kills mystery. The more they can reach you, the less they reach for you. The Stoics didn't flood the world with their presence. They were selective, precise, intentional. Because when something becomes rare, it becomes valued. So pull back, not to manipulate, but to protect your weight. Say no more often, be harder to find. Let the message wait, let the response come slower. Because space creates reflection, and reflection builds recognition. You don't need to vanish, you just need to stop being everywhere for everyone. Become an interruption, not background noise. And watch how quickly they notice what they stopped respecting. Scarcity isn't distance, it's power. You don't need to announce your growth. Just outgrow them, quietly. The Stoics didn't prove they were evolving. They let their absence become too large to ignore. No status, no update, no declaration of becoming better. They just worked in silence. They healed in silence. They elevated in silence. And by the time the world looked again, they were already gone. Not physically, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually. You want to respond to being undervalued? Don't post about your glow-up. Live it, alone, unshared, unbothered. Then show up one day, and no one recognizes the version of you that no longer fits their old image. Let your silence do the talking. Let your evolution be felt, not told. Because the most powerful kind of growth makes others feel like they lost access to something they never took seriously. Not everything needs a final scene. No explosion, no closure, no performance of pain, just stillness, just space, just a quiet decision to no longer carry what doesn't carry you. The Stoics didn't exit with noise, they disappeared with dignity. Because when you let go without the drama, you let go with power. You don't need to be understood. You don't need to be begged. You don't need them to know how much it hurt. All you need is to leave in a way that doesn't break you. No blaming, no posting, no message that says, just so you know, just gone. Because peace isn't found in how loud you leave, but in how little you need to. And when they notice you're gone, really gone, with no spectacle, that's when the silence starts to echo louder than anything you ever could have said. You don't need to get even. You just need to get whole. The Stoics didn't return for revenge. They returned with nothing to prove. And by then, they weren't accessible. Not out of spite, but because they'd grown beyond reach. You want them to feel it? Then don't post a quote. Don't send a final text. Don't try to make them see your glow. Just become so internally full that their absence no longer creates a void. Work, heal, train, level up in silence until the version of you they once knew no longer fits in the same room. Let your strength be unspoken. Let your peace make them uncomfortable. Because the best kind of revenge is no revenge at all. Just absence. Just evolution. Just a life they no longer have access to. And when they come back, they won't recognize you. And they'll realize they never really knew you at all. You didn't leave to hurt them. You left to find yourself. No noise, no spite, no grand exit, just a shift from trying to prove your value to finally protecting it. The Stoics knew, when the world stops noticing your worth, you don't raise your voice. You raise your standard. And that shift, it's not weakness, it's clarity. You weren't trying to escape, you were trying to breathe. To remember what it feels like to be held by your own presence. So if they wonder where you went, don't answer. Let your distance say what your words never could. Let your silence be the proof. And let them realize they didn't lose you when you walked away. They lost you long before that. when they stopped looking where you stood.